right, welcome back to another episode of Late to the Party, where a bunch of people talk about old movies. The minimum requirement for a movie to be old is 10 years. And today's feature, we're going back old school to the original host and the original premise, which is me. And we're going to talk about A Nightmare on Elm Street, 1984's horror movie from horror master Wes Craven. And I have some rabbit holes to go down with Liz about Mr. Craven. Released November 16th, 1984. Budget was $1.1 million. And it doesn't say how much it made here.
I was 17 days old.
17 days old? Oh, there you go. He was freshly squeezed. All right, let's look at our scores on this one. We've got 8.3 out of 10 from IMDb, 76% in Metacritic, and a 94 Rotten Tomatoes score. 90% of Google users like this movie. Let's see, in the original script, Freddy was a child molester, but according to IMDb, they changed him to a child killer because producers wanted to avoid comparisons to a story in California about a series of child molestations at the time of filming. Fun fact. The only time you ever hear about child murder and molestation being mentioned as a fun fact. Okay, great movie. Let's get into the questions for people. Josh.
Sir.
Mythos. Where do you think Freddy Krueger falls in line with traditional villainry?
You mean like on a scale of 1 to 10? Like where does he fall, or are you talking about?
Like if we're looking for like a historical influence for a bad guy, where would you see him stacking up?
So the historical influence that Freddy Krueger has had, or the historical influences that made Freddy Krueger?
No, like 1 being your mother, 10 being like Jeffrey Dahmer.
What?
Well,
No. Do you see any influence from this movie based on prototypes that are established in, most, as you guys like to put it, save the princess and kill the dragon?
Oh, well, yeah. So obviously Freddy is a major icon in that way. He kind of represents not just that kind of primal fear that kids have, but he's real in the movie because he's someone that the parents of these kids actually had to deal with. The only thing is that he's not really because he's in the dream world. He's not really the dragon that can be slain. I had forgotten, this movie, unlike a lot of horror movies from that time, the bad guy isn't ultimately destroyed. I was surprised at the end. I had forgotten that he shows up again by, kidnapping all the kids in the car. I had totally forgotten that point of it. But yeah, he's an archetype, and there's no question that he has influenced movie villains from that point on. Robert Englund is is the king of B movies after this point.
For sure. So let's talk about the great thespian in the movie, the actress that stole the show in this movie, which was the mom. Isaac, talk to us about the great acting job that the mom portrayed in this film.
You see this bronze lady just show up on film, and it's just like, damn, dude, bronze galore, dude. She's like glowing. Like, I was like, geez, Louise, man, the color on this lady is off from everybody in the family and the whole movie. Like, she really is like a beacon around everybody. She's a light. And I was just like,
Bizarro universe jaundice.
It was so weird, and that took me out of it for a minute. I was like, I don't remember her being so bright. But yeah, she was a fantastic actress. She did such a good job, and she was quite the booze hound, hiding those bottles of booze in the linen closet. And then every time she was just like holding a new one, it was freshly brand new, like full. And it's like, dude, how many of this lady knocked back before she goes to bed? She's getting a fresh one before bed. And then she's like talking to the daughter and being like, all right, I guess it's bedtime. And she's just like, right, good night. I love you. Yeah, she was a wild lady, dude. She was Braun's mom, for sure.
All right, same question for you, Lego, because you're making faces as he's talking. So I think you have an interesting take on this.
Dude, I'm just enjoying it. That was funny. I don't know. She was kind of, I feel like maybe one of the weaker links in the movie. But that's me.
Yeah, let's go back to her saving the glove, dude. What kind of psychopath saves someone's murder weapon? Like, you're just asking for your family to be haunted by this person. Why bring the murder weapon home?
Yeah, not just bringing the murder weapon home, but storing it in the boiler next to the can of gasoline.
One bad thing after another with that lady. And then that big ass house for just two of them, they were asking to be murdered in that home.
Very true.
Well, and, you have to think about how those bottles of booze contributed to her genius idea to fight the monster in the dreams by trapping everybody inside the house with the bars.
And then she had a reverse lock where she locked her in the house too. I don't have a key on me. I'm too drunk. Go to bed.
Jose, we have what's his name, Brock, the boyfriend with the switchblade and the handy little fork. Was it like a hoe tool? Not a hoe, but like a
Gardening. Yeah, it was a gardening tool.
Yeah, some kind of gardening tool. That was our lone minority representation in the movie, and within the first 10% of the film, he's incarcerated. What are your thoughts on that? What is he a minority as an Italian?
I had no clue. I
Italians
thought they were all
weren't quite
kids.
white yet.
I thought they were all white kids.
In the
He was
80s,
just
were Italians let into the country club yet?
No idea.
He wasn't in the country club. He was the bad boy, remember? He was in a band.
Yeah, he
That
was the
was which
stereotypical bad boy with the leather jacket. He
Yeah,
did look. He did look a little like Richard Ramirez, though. I will admit that. I was almost like, wait a minute. I was backtracking. Like, when did the Richard Ramirez murders take place? Did he get his look from this guy? So did the Nightmare on Elm Street inspire Richard Ramirez's wardrobe? Because we need to talk about that and the impact.
Let's talk
that
about
movies
inspiration,
have.
Jose. That's a good segue for my next question for you, Jose.
What's
How
up?
much influence did this movie have on Home Alone?
Dude, how fast
Well, I
did
think-
you make those booby traps?
Well, when you take into account the lapse of security, I mean, you have a high school student who is allowed to walk home by herself after suffering a freaking PTSD style like nightmare in the middle of class, and the teacher's like, "I'll call your parents." "No, I'll walk home. I'll go straight home." Okay. And not only that, she's then also allowed by her own father, apparently, who's a sheriff or whatever, to go and visit an accused murderer without any supervision whatsoever. She's allowed to go in there and have a conversation with him. So I think the negligence is what influenced Home Alone.
Okay.
Hey, let's not go too hard on the dad because he's John Saxon. He was in Enter the Dragon, okay? Let's remember who we're talking about here.
And he's
Oh no, I blame
recently
I blame the
well.
mother.
The booze.
And I blame the mom. The dad was, he has higher standards than a booze hound. I respect him.
Nah,
Plus, I don't think it was his shift though. I don't think it was his shift. I think he was working the night shift, and it was the day shift guy that let her into that cell with that dude. So, Dad's okay with me.
Well, if you know that the reason why the blonde chick died first was because she rejected Lane, and then when she had accepted him back into her life, he didn't want her anymore because he had the French chick now.
I don't know what you were smoking while you were watching this movie, but I want some of that. The second time that
I thought she died because she lost her virginity, or she gave it up. Isn't it the chicks that give it up in
That's
horror
one of the
movies that
rules.
they die?
I thought she died because Freddy.
I was
killed
just
her.
making a loose sideways reference to Better Off Dead, but Better Off Dead, the only people who watched it was me and Isaac and Josh. Liz was absent for that episode. I think Lego was too. Did you watch it, Jose?
Yeah, I
Two
watched Better Off
absences
Dead.
in Better Off Dead. Yeah, the blonde chick was the
What's Better Off
she was
Dead?
she was
Yeah.
in Better Off Dead.
She was also in Fast Times at Ridgemount High.
Oh really? I haven't seen that one in so long.
Tina.
Yeah, she was not hot at all. She was like looked like a anorexic boy. Yeah.
Hey, so do you guys think? I mean, the mom was involved in the mom was involved in the murder of Fred Krueger. So do you guys think that's why she drinks so much? She's still traumatized from all of that and all the crap she did.
100%.
For sure.
Let's explore that. The psychological trauma of killing a child molester. So it's
I
like,
don't know.
I'd sleep pretty good if I killed a child molester.
Man,
Especially
I
if
would
he
not
got his
be
murder weapon in the boiler room downstairs.
The murder, I think she just went down a different road. That
Serial killer there. Somebody took a trophy. Hello.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, I'm like, she's taking home a trophy. I mean, fuck, man, that's pretty ballsy.
Just
like-
saying.
Yeah, I wonder what the other parents have in their boiler rooms. Everybody's got a different
a
piece of them.
shoe,
Who's got
one
the
has
hat?
a shoe, and then she also ended up with the hat as well. So she had the glove and the hat. She was trying to build
Damn.
herself a scarecrow.
Cosplay Freddy for
Just
Christmas.
cosplaying, bro.
So the evolution of the Freddy character, he ended up being quite funny in the sequels, and he didn't really speak too much in this original movie. Do you
Quick
guys
one-liner.
like? Yeah, his one-liners are great. As they come through. This one he didn't really speak too much. Do you guys like it better with him not saying as much, or do you like it when he became the wise cracking serial killer?
I think it was much scarier when I was little, when he didn't say anything and he would just show up and he would just drop that one thing like, "I'm Freddy," or "Ta-da, wuzzle wuzzle."
Who's a wazzle? You know what though? I feel like this generation wouldn't appreciate this movie as much as the older ones did, because there isn't a lot of backstory. Like the mom just kind of tells us his story like in less than a minute, and we don't actually observe it. And I think nowadays it's like if they
They would
remade
make
it
a
or if
prequel
this
trilogy.
They've
yeah,
already
like if there
did
was
it.
a prequel to this, like you would have to show the townsfolk going after him and burning him, like give the freaking audience the whole context, as opposed to just this little 1 minute.
They would
like,
have another prequel based on the people in the audience as well.
it
It would go back.
But I like that. I like that it was just very, it was a very, 1 minute. This is what the story was. This is I knew about it, and it made me think like, dang, maybe that's why she's drinking so much, because she was there when they killed him. I mean, they burned him alive, right? So I was like, man, that's no easy task. That's what I was thinking. That's where my mind went as soon as I heard that. So I was like, oh shit.
I think in
This
the
is not
remake
really-
they show them kill him.
But again, that's the remake though.
Remake
Again,
Yeah.
with Rorschach.
Yeah.
So
Freddy's
here's a question for everybody. We'll start with Josh, and we'll go to Liz, and then Isaac, Lego, and Jose will cap it off. These horror movies from the 80s, there was horror movies earlier on, but I think they kind of introduced the bad guy as the star for the most part. When I was a kid, I was especially terrified by Fred Krueger because of the fact that you couldn't get away from him. Like you had to sleep. Eventually, you had to sleep, and I would have actual nightmares with Freddy, and that I could go into deeper later on. Which we got Michael Myers, Jason, Freddy. Which do you guys think is probably the worst one, or the one that scared you the most as a kid when you watched these movies?
Well, for me, it was definitely Jason, where he's the idea of this monstrous undead bastard that would terrorize kids at camp. That was the one that got to me. Freddy was never all that terrifying, mainly because I never remember my dreams. So it's just one of those things that's like, hey, whatever. I'm not going to remember what he does to me, so it's no big deal. But Jason was always the big one.
For me, it was Michael Myers. He was the first, I think he was the first horror monster movie that I can remember. And everybody else kind of paled in comparison to him. Like Halloween, just the movie, the experience of Halloween with the music, and it's very stark. There's no flash bang type stuff. It's just very creeping in the dark, standing out there in the daylight, staring at you. You know, did I see it? Did I not see it?
With the William Shatner mask.
That would be Halloween and Halloween 2, because you kind of have to put those two kind of like together, like because they take place.
What about Halloween 3?
No, Halloween 3, Season of the Witch is a piece of crap, but and it doesn't have anything to do
Hey,
with
Marty, still Halloween. Hey, Marty, still Halloween. Silver Shamrock.
that was creepy just because of the little kid type stuff, but like Halloween. To this day, when I watch it, I still have to have my blanket, I have to curl up, and I have to watch it just because I think it psychologically damaged me. So when I watch stuff like Friday the 13th and Nightmare on Elm Street, like those guys they're just monsters. Whereas Michael Myers is like a person. He could be that person that's around the corner. He could be that neighbor. He could be that whatever down the street, or whereas the other two are typical monsters. They're horror movie monsters. Whereas Michael Myers is real, and he could be real, and that's what scares me.
For me, it has to be Braun's mom. Braun's drunk mom was like, oh man, scary. For that lady to be your mom, Braun's mom. She's the one. Now, for me, it was always the Leatherface family. Those like the hillbillies from Texas that fucking eating people and feeding to the others, wearing faces, and it starts with based on a true story. It's like, damn, dude, this could have happened, or this happened. Fuck,
it did happen. Yeah.
That's scary shit right there. Ed Gein, all that shit. That's what I was scared of as a kid. Is accidentally going into one of those supermarkets and eating someone's finger.
Nasty.
I mean, just don't go to Texas.
My family's from Texas.
Oh man. I was afraid of Freddy before I even saw Nightmare on Elm Street. There was just something about like a dude who can get into your head while you're asleep and kill you, and like you're like in his world. That freaked me out. And like I don't think I ended up watching the movie till I was like maybe like 9 or 10, something like that. But I very much remember like being afraid of Freddy and not wanting to go to sleep because I didn't want Freddy to come get me.
Wasn't it in the second one where it was the Dream Warriors or whatever, and then one of the kids was like a guy who played D&D, and he like attacked Freddy as like a wizard or something like that?
I think that was
badass.
That's free.
Oh, that's free. Oh yeah.
Two's Freddy's Revenge, where he makes the one dude start killing people.
Missed that one, huh? It went right to the Dream Warriors.
I went right to the one with Dungeons and Dragons.
I could see Josh. He'd be like, lightning bolt, lightning bolt, lightning bolt. All right, Vargas.
I was always scared of Leprechaun. No, It was always Freddy for me for the same reasons that Lego stated. The other ones you can, like don't go to Texas. You'll avoid Leatherface. The other guys, it's like you can literally travel anywhere in the world. Like the world's pretty big. If you fly somewhere, I highly doubt Michael Myers is going to be able to get a passport to go and visit you in Spain or something. So the logical side of me was always like, well, just keep moving, or go to another country, you'll be fine. But with Freddy, just the idea, like, sometimes you don't even know when you fall asleep. How many times have you been awake watching something and then you just knock out? And they even showed in the movie where they didn't realize they had knocked out. They were like, "Oh my God, you idiot! You fell asleep!" Like, you can't. It's hard, unless you're on a bunch of stuff or coffee. So just the idea that those dreams manifest into reality, and if he's ripping your guts out, it's happening in real life. Like that shit was scary to me. and sometimes walking at night, looking at the dark, and you see something like you see 3 or 4 little things clawing like that. You're like, is that a claw? What the hell was that? And just freaking you the hell out. Branches look pretty scary at night.
No, I'm with you. My buddies and I would sit around. We'd do like skateboarding in the front yard and sit on the curb and just talk shit about what would be worse if each of these monsters was after you. And we all kind of agreed. It was like the first rule of what was it, Zombieland, like cardio. Like if Michael Myers and Jason are after you, all you got to do is pick a straight line and run faster than a fast walk, and you fucking got it. There's no place you can go. You can't go to space. You can't go to another solar. You can't go anywhere where you're not going to sleep and he ain't going to fucking get you. So we're just like, man.
To be fair, Jason does go into outer space. So food for thought.
And
I didn't say
Freddy,
you would be faced. Freddy would be, that's what I was saying. I'm not saying you'd be safe from him either. But yeah, that was rough, especially his shiny helmet. Oh, it was rough.
I want to watch that now. Jason X.
Dude, I love that one.
Yeah,
And I love that he flies all the way, or the mask flies all the way through the solar system, or through the atmosphere and all that, and then lands in Crystal Lake. Like, what? No. That was awesome.
I think my favorite, though, was Freddy versus Jason. That movie is actually a lot of fun to watch. I missed a few Nightmare on Elm Street movies in between, and then I watched Freddy versus Jason, and that was a lot of fun. He brings Jason into the dream world. They get him to dream and brings him in, and then they get on equal footing, and then Jason realizes what's going on, and he's not as dumb as he looks type situation. And that movie was a lot of fun to watch. It was a lot of fun.
He may be slow, but he's not.
Freddy's
dumb.
one-liners in that one were
yeah,
on point.
yeah. Well, because he didn't have anybody to
talk to.
Jason doesn't say anything, so. Sorry.
That's true. All right, well, let's get to the buckets. We'll go back through in the same order, and then if there's anything else you guys have to add to this review, then please do. So take it away, Josh.
Yeah, buckets wise, I think this movie is going to be like a hard 7 for me. It definitely has like longevity, and it has a lot of nostalgia, but the movie, even for its time, is kind of rough. You have to think this is the year after Return of the Jedi came out, so the enduring quality of the visual effects is not really there, and the acting in some cases is also not really there,
except for the mom.
Except for the mom, right? Yeah. Maybe she was getting blitzed so that she didn't have to dream, because she knew that's where he would show up. So she was just comatose. I don't know. But anyway, yeah, it's definitely a 7 for me.
This one was actually a rough one for me to watch and get through. I was very about it when I was watching it. I don't know. Like I said, I don't know if it's just because like he just doesn't scare me, or this is just one of those movies that it doesn't have very good acting. It doesn't. I mean, the story premise, it was good. I like the story premise. I think Wes Craven did a pretty good job. executing it. I just think that the actors, when you have Johnny Depp being the best actor in the movie, and he doesn't do a whole lot, that's saying something.
Oh, it's his first time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Introducing
Johnny Depp. Yeah, this is like a 5 for me. I'm not super. I mean, I'll watch them. I think I'm gonna go back and watch the movies that I missed in between, because just to say that I watched them. But
yeah, we have the whole collection for some reason.
It's a 5. It's just.
I'm gonna give it an 8. I love these movies. The music in this movie was fantastic. It's full of awesome, just like every time he comes out, that sweet music just starts playing, and you know you're in for it. He's gonna be chasing you. The graphics, yeah, they're cheesy, but it's like an 80s movie graphics, horror movie graphics. That's what you expect from those times. And then for Bronze Mom, dude, you gotta give her an extra like three buckets right there, dude. For each booze that she puts down before bed. So 8 buckets for me.
So he agrees with me, it's a 5, but Bronze Mom gives him an extra 3.
Oh man, Bronze Mom alone for me, dude. 10 out of 10. No, this movie's great, dude, and it's for the same reason, Isaac. Like, I love the music, I love the like playfulness of it. It's classic 80s horror, and I think you could definitely say it's probably one of the most influential of all time. So 10 out of 10. Fuck yeah.
Yeah, I'm sticking with Lego in a 10 out of 10. This movie's got it, man. I mean, you can't talk about horror without mentioning Nightmare on Elm Street. Like, I dare you to. You know, you just can't. Yes, cheesy, yes, but I mean, I'd be lying if I didn't say there was a couple scenes where I was kind of like, what's coming around the corner, assholes? I had all the lights off and everything, and I was like, oh, I'm a 32-year-old man. I ain't scared of this. And I had a couple scenes I was like, hey, so you still awake?
Hey, when he cuts himself, Jose, and the maggots.
Dude, right there alone, I had to pause it for like 10 minutes and then go do my hyperventilation, because I have this thing. For those that don't know, I have this thing with open wounds. I can't. It got me.
Phobia or whatever.
Yeah, I have this, and I couldn't. Like that, when he did that in the maggots, I was like, I had to pause it and then walked away. So for the same amount of minutes that I had to pause it, same amount of buckets it's getting, 10.
Boom.
And for also the same amount of bottles I saw that mom chug. And 10 bottles of vodka.
Yeah, I'm going with 10 also. This movie has stuck with me throughout time. That revisiting it and watching it again, you know, this is the first time that I saw it that the mom's acting stood out to me as horrible as it was. And but you know, I think that's probably just because we're like movie critics now, whether or not we believe we are. We've been doing this for almost a year. We're coming up on our anniversary, and you know, doing this we haven't missed a week, so we got a lot of movies under our belts. And you know, the scene where she's laying in bed and she's asleep, but then the slashes just come across her chest, and then she's screaming and flying into the air and dragging on the ceiling. Oh my God, that was brutal, like even by today's standards. And when the claw comes up and pulls Johnny Depp and all of his stereo equipment down into the bed and shoots the blood into the air, like, man.
What about that iconic
glove?
The glove coming out of the water.
Yeah.
That was cool. I forgot how cool that was. And then the telephone, he's like, I'm your boy for now, and he starts licking her. That shit was dope. Kids won't know that anymore, grabbing a phone. They won't think like, Freddy's gonna kiss me. It's just like, what do you want?
Like an
app or something. As hard as they try to make her be super smart, when that would have happened, I would have been like, wait a minute, he can only affect you in the dream world. So I'm obviously dreaming, even though I'm acting like I'm not in the dream world, but obviously I am. Come on, put your head out. like this. I don't know. Yeah. There are some scenes I just like look over at Josh. Why did she think she wasn't in the dream world when this happened? He got, yeah. This one isn't. She's not Jamie Lee Curtis.
Not the ultimate final girl.
Sorry.
She's not your final girl. Yeah, but she was rocking like Lego's hairstyle inspiration. She had that gray streak going in there.
Oh hell yeah!
Like, damn, this is Lego's.
Well, that's,
It was like
This movie's probably why I have that.
I was gonna
half
say
the
that's
inspiration.
That's stress, dude, not hair dye.
It's like half Sokka, half Nancy.
Oh, Nancy.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us, folks. And we're going to be passing our movie selection on to Josh again this week. So he'll have 6 picks, and then we'll be filling out the rest of the other 10 during our Talking Shit episode coming up on Mondays at 9:30. Watch and have fun. For Collection Connection, I'm Nate the Great signing off. We'll see you next Friday.